Hi everyone, thanks for watching my channel and welcome back to me. I've been away for a little while and haven't made like a long video in a little bit. But I had a lot of things going on in my life and things have sort of shifted and changed, but I hope to put out a video at least every month and from now on. And I've definitely had an increase in subscribers recently, so thank you so much. That's wonderful. We're building this community together. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you like what you see on this channel, please subscribe. Thanks so much. So this video is a bit of a daring video, okay? If you hadn't noticed, a lot of my work on my, it's not the only thing I do, but on my channel surrounds the cryptic pregnancy experience, women going through cryptic pregnancy. I started the channel because I wanted to help just sort of give support and guidance to women going through the experience and kind of grow with it myself. I had 2 cryptic pregnancies. Both ended in 2 very healthy free births of 2 baby girls, one in 2014, one in 2015. 2 separate pregnancies, just to make that clear. So anyway, that's the basic gist. So this topic I'm about to talk about is highly controversial, and it has, in my experience, ends up in a lot of arguments and a lot of emotion in the cryptic pregnancy realm. Understandably so, but in my opinion, not justifiably so. We're all kind of discovering this together. One thing I kind of want to remind you guys of is that cryptic pregnancy is only, cryptic from what? Cryptic means hidden, okay? It's hidden from medical tests. Okay, medical tests haven't been around for thousands of years. They've only been around for a blip on the timeline of humanity, okay? This sort of phenomenon that you cannot pick up on a pregnancy on the modern medical test is a very recent phenomenon, right? So concerning the topic of this video, do I think that pregnancies can last years and years? Okay, number one, I do not want to ever go down as somebody, which I will inevitably by some people, but as ever being demeaning or degrading to any woman's experience. They should feel free to open and share about their experience, and it really depends on their whole heart set and mindset and whole set, whole being set when it comes to how they're going to approach their health and their life, okay, and their experience. I've been working with cryptic pregnancy for 4 years now, and in the cryptic pregnancy realm, sort of with women for about 3 years, a little over 3 years, and I have seen and heard hundreds of stories and helped hundreds of women from all over the world with their cryptic pregnancy experiences. I have, because I have earned the trust of these women, with my striving to lend a compassionate ear and do what I can to, with my talents and my gifts, to help along the process, help along the journey, help the woman. My goal is to help women to reconnect with their intuitions, become more self-reliant, and more trusting in themselves and in their gut feelings and intuitions about their own body and their own lives. And then also to connect to each other, okay? This woman-to-woman connection is so incredibly powerful and central to women and has been very much severed and obliterated almost in the Western society. Woman-to-woman connection and community is stomped down, and competition and condemnation among women is encouraged the way it is in male society. Okay. I'm not saying that we should not have the courage to face challenging things. Of course, I'm making this video and talking about challenging things all the time, okay? That's not what I mean by having a woman-to-woman connection, okay? Connection and community. We need to be able to process our feelings and our emotions spiritually and intuitively and grow as women, right? And that does take effort, and that does take spiritual willingness, okay? So I'm not saying that there won't be judgment here and there won't be feelings of judgment here and there. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we need woman-to-woman connection and storytelling, whether it's personal stories or more symbolic stories. That gathering and connection is so fundamental to women. So that's really my work, the center core of my work. And because I have earned the trust of so many women, I have been able to see so many experiences and so many things that the medical field does not acknowledge by a long shot. I do feel that women for thousands of years probably already knew the things that I have seen and heard, but all that wisdom and knowledge and knowing from generation to generation passed down from mother to daughter, grandmother, mother, daughter, that knowing has been buried under a metropolis of pharmaceutical companies and modern medicine, okay? So what I'm about to tell you in this video is precious information, and I leave people's names out of it. Everything is highly confidential. I will only speak in generalities. Okay, so I will not discredit a woman's experience. Okay, if she feels that she's been pregnant for years and years, she deserves the same respect and unconditional regard as any woman going through anything, okay? I will say that I have seen medical documentation of pregnancies going up to about 17 months. The same baby, the same pregnancy, presumably, okay? They are not cryptic pregnancies, but I've seen medical documentation of pregnancies going up to 17 months. Not much beyond that. I have seen over the last few years, I have seen only a couple of babies born from cryptic pregnancies that lasted 2 years. Okay? I do know that otherwise, I have not seen any babies born of pregnancies that last years and years. I've seen only a couple. And I am going to say something that is challenging, okay, that is rather challenging, can be triggering. So here's a trigger warning for those of you who might be jumpy, okay? I do not feel that this is the majority of the time, but I do feel that every once in a while there are women who just want attention, okay? They might be going through something. They kind of blow up their story in order to gain attention and some kind of reverence, okay, in the cryptocurrency community. So that does happen. Okay. All right. So I'm not saying that it's not possible. All right. When I first had my 50 pregnancies, okay, I didn't even know that a pregnancy could last beyond 10 months. Okay. I did talk to a midwife later on that said that, I think it's in the Netherlands, but I can't remember. Okay, do not quote me on that. But in places where the sunlight has a different effect on the pituitary gland, that can affect the length of pregnancy. So it's common for women in some countries to, where the sunlight in particular is, I think is, it's darker over there, so the sunlight isn't as prominent. It's common for women to have pregnancies that go 11 months. Okay, so but I didn't know that. And that's not until I started sort of digging into this information. Okay, and then, as I said before, I then went on to discover that, even medically documented pregnancies have gone up to 17 months. There are a couple of factors that I would like to express here, in my experience talking to these hundreds of women now over the last few years. Okay, and women have shared with me their medical documents. I've definitely had in-depth relationships with women, on the phone, on the internet, just listening and talking and connecting, okay, listening to their stories. It is possible, and it has been medically documented, that women can get pregnant while pregnant. Women, women can get pregnant while pregnant. Okay. In some women, they release high amounts of estrogen. Okay, and so this can cause and encourage this to happen. I've seen this as a case in pregnancies that were cryptic for a while, and then weren't, and they discovered that the woman had conceived, had a couple or a few conceptions. A couple of them did not survive, but were breaking down already in the in the womb, and I believe there was one where one did take and the baby did grow, but that baby eventually did not make it either. That kind of leads me into my next thing, is that, I have seen medically documented cases where, again, it could start out cryptic and then not be, or it wasn't at all, but where, um, up to a full-term fetus, up to a full-term baby, can be reabsorbed by the woman's body. There have been reported cases of women having like remains of a baby in the womb and, in the abdomen, and it getting surgically removed like years and years and years later. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking. That shows that can happen. Okay, but there have been cases where the baby is up to 4, 5, 7 pounds, and the body reclaims it. The mother's body reclaims it, and you have to remember that the baby's skeleton is, a lot of it is cartilage. Okay, so in these cases, there'll be a lot of reabsorption that happens, but then also the mother will pass a lot of blood clots, and there'll be a lot of hemorrhaging, but eventually the body does go back to normal. Okay, so reabsorption and being able to get pregnant, more than once, while you're pregnant, are things that I have seen in my speaking to women and my research, and women also, sharing with me their medically documented cases of their experiences, which they would not in other circumstances ever share, because there is no space to share in this highly hostile, society towards women and our experiences with our bodies, and in particular in the pregnancy realm. So having said all that, again, I'm not discrediting women who are going through cryptic pregnancy for years and years and years. Because, I didn't know that a pregnancy could go 17 months, okay, let alone, or a year, let alone, I didn't know that it could go beyond 10, 11 months, okay, until I had my own. And, and then I also, then I began to meet women who also went through that. And so I do think that I do think that we're a bit too intense, okay, when it comes to, no, it's the same baby, it's the same pregnancy for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I think that it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt at all, and actually I think it's beneficial to consider the fact that you can get pregnant while you're pregnant, okay? And that the woman's body is able to reabsorb other pregnancies, okay, that pass away and don't make it. And as I said before, I have seen medical documentation of these things happening. Of course, there are situations where there is no medical documentation, but that is what the woman suspects. I mean, right this moment, I feel like it's probably more likely, if a pregnancy symptoms is going on for years and years and years, it's probably more likely that it's not the same pregnancy. The woman's body is incredibly uncharted, mysterious territory, okay? And that's what the cryptic pregnancy experience and the community brings out, is the reality that women are powerful and mysterious, and so are our bodies. And a lot of the information that is out there has been sort of superimposed onto women, rather than women experiencing them and passing that information on to our communities, our daughters, the next generation of women, okay? So the cryptic pregnancy realm really brings that out, okay? Is that the reality is that so much information is superimposed upon us, and we are put into a box, okay? When the womanly experience is so much more profound than that, okay? And I think that going through the cryptic pregnancy experiences is proof of that. Is proof that that there's so much power inside a woman, okay? Creative and destructive. And I don't want to be destructive, not necessarily negative, okay? Destructive meaning that everything has a cycle, a life cycle and a death cycle, okay? And women have those cycles innately built into us, and those cycles are powerful, and those cycles go along with the cycles of nature and creation. And we are out of sync with that in modern culture. And so the coming into alignment can be very painful and very scary. So I'm not saying that it's not possible, okay, to be pregnant with the same baby for years and years and years. I'm not going to say with absolute certainty. I'm not going to say with, like, in an absolute manner that is impossible. But I do at this point feel like there are other options, and those options, in my mind, are probably more likely. Does that make the pregnancy experience any less, Absolutely not. Or your experience any less legitimate in my eyes? Absolutely not. And again, I'm not an expert. Nobody is, okay, on this. This is just me listening to hundreds of women and seeing their medical reports, listening to their detailed experiences, their intuitions, their psychic visions, okay? And just having my heart open and my spirit open, okay, as a channel for receiving and giving this profound information, okay, and in order that we can sort it out and heal, okay, and become more self-reliant and more intuitively grounded. The last thing I want to say is that there is a theory out there that has been presented by the medical community that that delayed implantation is highly possible, and they've seen it in mammals and they do feel like it's very probable in humans, and it could explain a lot of things in terms of due dates and things like that are way off sometimes when it comes to human pregnancy, human gestation. I did read one time that in bears, for example, they will mate sometimes, like right before hibernation, and the sperm and the egg will like hang out, in the sort of womb soup, of the mom for the entire duration of hibernation. And then when spring comes and the hormones begin to kick in and respond to the change of the season, then the sperm and the egg then activate, and the pregnancy begins, permanently takes hold, and she has the baby, okay, and she has the baby that spring. So that happens in bears. And I remember thinking, we are very similar to mammals. The medical scientific community says that we are mammals. I think that it's highly possible that these different phenomena can happen in women and pregnancy. So that's kind of what I have to say about the subject. And I think we need to step away from dogma. I think we need to step away from, I don't know, some women have kind of taken up this sort of dictatorship on one side or the other. Like, either you can be pregnant for, a decade, or, crippling pregnancy isn't possible at all. I think that there are dictators, like women dictators on both sides of the coin, and it's pretty annoying. I'm gonna say it's really annoying because for me, that's not what this experience is about. That's not what this community is about. It's about women rediscovering ourselves, our bodies, our minds, our spirits, our intuition, our place with each other, our connection with each other on such a deep, or to each other, our traditions, our ancestors on such a deep level, and it really brings out some of the deepest emotions in women. So being able to rediscover and explore all that is a really, really sacred right. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. I'm so glad that you got to the end of this video, and thank you so much for your time, and God bless.